Right, hello friends. In today's video, we're going to be grinding the valves. So inlet and outlet valve on this Ford S-Max engine. The problem is that the reason why we are changing the valves is that the cam shaft snapped. So when the camshaft snapped, it bent all the valves. So we took the old valves out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grind these valves so that they can sit in nicely, so they can sit in flush. So for that we are using the grinding paste. So this is the coarse grinding paste to start off with. So just gonna lift the valve up. So here we go. Just gonna apply a little bit grinding paste on the edge here. Okay. And then we're gonna drop the valve in. So we're using a plunger and the drill machine to rotate the valves so that it gets nicely grinded in and sits in the slot. So just gonna do that. So we're gonna pull the valve out and assess the bottom side of the valve to see whether it's nicely grinded. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use the fine paste. So here comes the fine paste. So these two valves, I'm not gonna grind them too much because I already grinded them, but I didn't do it properly. I mean, I didn't do it all the way. So that's what I'm doing now. So I'm repeating the procedure again. So this is the fine paste. So just gonna apply it here like this. And then I drop the valve back in. So this is the outlet valve which we just grinded. Just gonna lift it up. Just gonna bring the valve closer. There we go. Just gonna clean the ring here with the wipe. Just gonna show you the area here. See, nice and clean. So now that when we assemble the engine block back onto the engine, there won't be any escape. The there won't be any leaks. Okay, so that's the first exhaust outlet valve, nicely grinded in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna, because we don't want to mix up the valves, the one which we already worked on. So this one we're gonna place it back in to the slot. Okay. So the next one is the inlet valve. Okay. So again, gonna do the same to start off with. So we're gonna use a coarse grinding paste. So we're gonna apply that around here. Again, as I mentioned, the first two valves I already grinded them in earlier, so it won't be um, there won't be much grinding left on these ones, but I'm just gonna repeat the procedure just to make sure that they are sitting in nicely. So I'm just gonna wipe the area here where I'm gonna fit the sponge. There we go. Just going to clean the sponge. Just gonna give it a good clean. So this head is of Ford S-Max 2008 model. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is, as I mentioned before as well, that these two ones don't need much of the work doing to them. So here comes the fine grinding paste. Just gonna apply a little bit. So you start with the coarse grinding paste, and then you finish it off with the fine one. Okay, just gonna apply the paste here. Not too much, just a bit. It's enough for the paste to work. Perfect. Just gonna lift it up. So you grind it down to 3/4 of surface in here, from this edge, outer edge, to the inner edge. So this is nice and flush. It's very important when you fit the new valves. It's very important to grind them. Otherwise, you won't have a proper compression because of the leak. Okay, so that's that done. So again, just gonna clean the surface and place the valve back in. So that was the first piston. So that was the first inlet and outlet valve, nicely being grinded. So just gonna go to the exhaust outlet valve. So again, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna apply a little bit of grinding paste. There we go. So again, just gonna clean the grinding paste so that we can apply. So that was the coarse grinding. Sorry, so that was the coarse grinding paste, which I'm trying to remove from the head as well as the valve. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna apply the coarse. So we're gonna apply the fine paste onto the valve. There we go. Just gonna dab it a bit. Perfect. A little bit here. So coarse to start off with, and then to finish off, you do the fine. You apply the fine grinding paste. Again, I'm just gonna use the drill machine and the suction pad. Perfect. Just gonna lift it up. I'm gonna give it a good clean all around it. Okay. So from the edge to this area here, um, you can see the grinded part, which is 3/4 of the area from this outer edge to the inner edge, which is here. So this is perfectly fine. So again, just gonna remove the paste. Again, just gonna show you the. There you go. You can see the surface nicely cleaned, all even. So this is the outlet valve. So it's gonna sit in flush without any vacuum leaks from it. Okay. So that's the second outlet valve. Nicely grinded in to the spec. So now we're gonna start off with the with the air inlet valve. Okay, so just gonna clean the surface to start off with. I'm gonna bring the camera a bit closer as well so that you can see the whole process from the closer angle. Okay, perfect. Right, so inlet on the second head area. Here comes the grinding paste. Just gonna dab it on the edge here. Perfect. We are doing this procedure so that there won't be any compression leak from the head, from the valves. So it's very important when you fit new valves, inlet or outlet. You have to grind the valves the way I'm doing it. So that's how you do it. Just gonna apply a little bit more grinding paste. So remember, start off with, you do the coarse grade, and the make I'm using is Holtz. Okay, so to start off with is the coarse grinding paste. It's gonna repeat the procedure again. So just gonna dab the paste here and a little bit on the receiving end here. Okay. There we go. Right, let's see. Just gonna inspect the area. Right, so for those of you just joined now, um, just gonna explain it again. This head, engine head is of Ford S Max, and the reason why we are changing the valve stems are because due to some reason the camshaft snapped at two places, which led to the valves hitting the pistons, and so the valves were all bent. So the old valves I'm on about. So we took the old valves out off, bend them, and we're trying to fit the new valves. So before we are fitting the new valves, inlet and outlet on all of these. Um, there are eight of them because obviously this is a eight valve engine. Okay, so this is the Ford 1.8 diesel. So just gonna show you the stem. Just gonna see from the edge to the inner edge. I've done 50% of it, so it has to be 3/4. So just gonna do a little bit more, and a little bit more grinding with the course to start with, and then uh, we're gonna finish off with the fine grinding paste. I'm holding on to the stem from here so that it doesn't move. It's a bit wobbly. Perfect. Just gonna show you the area here, all nice and clean. You can see the shiny bit. That's how it's supposed to be after grinding it. So now that we have grinded the valve with coarse grade, so now we're gonna go to the fine grade grinding paste, which is here. So just gonna apply a little bit of this fine grinding paste. There we go, that's good as gold. 3/4 of the area nicely been grinded from this outer edge to the inner edge here. It's gonna clean the surface, and then we're gonna move on to the so we're gonna go to the third set of valves, inlet and outlet. So this is the outlet one. So these are the new valves we placed in earlier. So just gonna show you the surface without before you grind the valve. So at the moment this is how it looks. I'm just gonna put some light on it. So we're gonna smoothen the ring here so that the exhaust outlet valve sits in nicely. Right. So the coarse grinding paste. So this is how the valves gonna look. This is before you grind them in. This is before I start the grinding procedure. Just gonna dab it all around it. There we go. So I'm gonna lift the valve up a bit, and then we're gonna apply a little bit more paste on the edges. So dab it all around it. So this is the coarse grade grinding paste. We're using a drill machine and a plunger, small one. Just gonna clean the surface. There we go. Perfect. Seems alright. Exactly the way I wanted it. So we grinded the valve stem from this edge to this ring here. So outer edge to the inner edge. Uh, so we grinded it 3/4 of the area. So now what we're gonna do is after cleaning it, so we're gonna apply fine paste. So this is the fine grade Holt make grinding paste. So just gonna apply all the way around the edge. There we go. Here comes the drill machine with a plunger. That's perfectly down to the required standard. Perfect. Just gonna clean the surface here and gonna show you the finish on the on the ring here. Okay, it's all nice and clean. I think I can see a little bit of carbon deposit on this side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grind a little bit more with the fine grade paste. Right, so for those of you just joined in now to my live, just gonna explain what I'm doing. What I'm doing here is I'm fitting the new valves onto the head. So the reason why we are replacing the old head with the new one, sorry, the old valve stems with the new valve stems, is that the camshaft snapped at two places, uh, and which caused damage to the valves. So all the valves were bent. Luckily, it didn't do any damage to the head itself. So there aren't any cracks inside. We had it pressure tested and all that. So what we are doing here is we are fitting new valve stems. So when you fit the valve stems onto the cylinder head, you have to use the grinding paste to grind the valve stems so that they sit into the slots flush, so that there isn't any vacuum leak. Otherwise uh, there'll be a problem. So the compression will be not up to the standard. Okay, so that's what we're doing now. So I'm using a drill machine and the plunger here to grind the valves. I'm just going to lift the valve up. Just going to compare it to the one on this side. Seems alright. So we're just going to clean the surface. There we go. So that was the exhaust outlet valve. So just gonna take the inlet valve off. So it's all full of carbon deposit here. So obviously the new valve, uh, obviously the old valve had the memory, so it forms like a memory to the surface, but the new valve is what we need to grind in so that it sits when the valves are shut, they sit onto the ring flush, so there isn't any compression leak. So here comes the grinding paste. So this is the coarse grinding paste. This is very important procedure. Some people just rush. What they do is they'll fit the new valves without grinding them, and later on when the engine is fully assembled, that's when they have the issues with the compression. So if the compression is not right, obviously the car's not gonna, the engine's not gonna run properly. It's a small detail work to start off with, will save you from going back, stripping the engine again from the scratch, and all about time and effort, isn't it? So this engine, as I mentioned before as well, for those of you just joined, for some reason the camshaft snapped, which led to the valves hitting the pistons. So all the valves were bent, old ones, all the old valves were bent. So we took the all 8 valves out. So one in, one out, one in, one out, one in, one out. Okay. So we took the old ones off, and then we are fitting the new ones. So before we uh, fabricate the rest of the block, we are trying to grind the valves so that they sit into the slot nicely. So just going to show you the damaged bent valves which we pull out from this block. There we go, friends. So these are the damaged valves. See, I'm trying to rotate it. See it? See the damage to the valves? They're not straight. So if I leave it here and try to rotate, you'll be able to see what happened to it. See it? It should be straight. So this is the inlet valve. See it? And this is the outlet valve. This is even worse. Look at it. All, it's not even straight. When I turn it, see? So this is the old outlet valve which we took out, completely bent. So the new valves and the new head gasket, obviously we're going to change the head gasket as well. So the new valves, the new head gasket, and the new cylinder head bolts. In this case, there were 8 of them. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there are 8 of them. So these are the new stretch bolts. Head gasket, new 8 valves, because obviously this is the 8 valve engine. Head gasket, the valves, um, and the stretch bolt, they all costed us £80 from eBay. So just showed you the valves. See it? So there's no way you can put these valves back on. Obviously they were seized as well, so we had a job to pull them out. There we go. Here comes the plunger. Okay. Just gonna apply a little bit more grinding paste. There we go. So pull it out. Leave it here. A little bit more coarse grinding paste all around it. Job like these ones, you can't rush on them because if you cut the corners, then you'll have the problem in future with the compression leak. Okay, so here we go. Right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna lift it up and clean the surface. We have achieved the required amount of grinding. Okay, perfect. See it? 3/4 of the area. So we're not gonna finish off here. We we're gonna grind the area with the coarse to finish off the job on this inlet valve. These Ford S-Max 1.8 diesel engines are very simple to work on because they are 8 valve uh, engines, very basic, very straightforward, simple engines. As long as you follow the guidelines and do the things step by step, there shouldn't be a problem. So situation like this where you end up with the broken cam belt or the broken camshaft where the valves are all bent and you want to change the valves. Before you change the valve, it's best to take it to the specialist to get the pressure test on the cylinder to look for any damage to the actual sleeves, to the actual channels inside the cylinder head. And then if the pressure test is okay on your old head, I would recommend that you use your old head, and just change the valves. And obviously, if it's the cam belt or the cam shaft or any of the damaged components, so you just change them instead of uh, going on eBay or any other salvage place to buy the second hand head, because obviously you're quite familiar with your own cylinder head as compared to the one you're going to buy from the person selling it somewhere. So there might be other issues with it. So I would rather get the original head to be tested for pressure test, and then I would rather, if it's fine with, if it comes back with no damage to the cylinder head, I would just change the components the way I'm doing it now. Okay, so here these knobs sticking out here, they are the glow plugs. This knob here is broken. Obviously we're gonna treat the car with new glow plugs, so obviously that is one of the issue I can see here. So that must have snapped when we were uh, removing the components, when we were resting the this side of the head on the, obviously we always keep it on the wood, never leave it on the hard surface. If you leave it on, if you leave it on hard surface, then you're going to damage the head. Okay, so we applied the fine grinding paste here, and then just gonna use the plunger and the drill machine to grind the valve. So this time we are using the fine grinding paste. So this is to finish it off. Perfect. Just going to clean the surface. So these inlet and outlet valve stems, head gasket, and the stretch bolts, 8 of them, they all came as one set, as one package, and the price was £80 from eBay. Okay, and they delivered it on time. Was quite happy with the delivery service. Okay, so just gonna clean the area here. There we go, nice and clean. Perfect. So just the last set of valves, inlet and outlet, to do. If you are planning to fabricate the rest of the block on a different day, then make sure that you apply plenty of oil on these valve stems and yeah, onto these valve stems and the surface here, otherwise it's going to get rusty. So keep it away from the moisture and apply plenty of oil on it. If you're leaving it if you are leaving the project for some other day, and if you are planning to do all the fabrication on the same day, then make sure that you clean it with the clean the surface, this especially the area where the head gasket is going to sit. Make sure you have to get it grinded nicely, so the all the dirt here, like when I run my finger, I can feel it. I can feel the roughness. So you make sure that the machinist nicely takes the layer off, fine layer off here, and also before you fit the head gasket onto the head, you make sure that you clean the surface with IPA. But in my case, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fabricate the rest of the head tomorrow. So therefore, I'm gonna apply a little bit oil on these valves inside this area so that they don't get rusty, especially the area where I have been grinding using the grinding paste and all that. Okay, so just gonna dab a little bit engine oil, then clean engine oil. So here we go. So this is the last bit of last set of valves which we need to grind. So remember, don't cut the corners. Make sure you do this procedure when you change the valves, otherwise you'll have a poor compression and the engine will tell you that it's not happy. There we go. The compression has to be at certain psi, and the only way you can get the good compression is that if there aren't any leaks inside the head and the valves are sitting nicely. Valves are sitting flush to the head itself. Okay, so we have applied the grinding paste. So now we're going to use the drill machine and the sponge little bit more paste all around it. There we go. Perfect. Put it on this side. So I'm gonna repeat again. This is the head cylinder. This is the head of Ford S Max 2008 model. And the reason why we are changing the valves and we are grinding the valves is because the camshaft snapped. So when the camshaft snaps or the cam belt snaps, right, sorry guys, the battery on the mobile died. So we're just gonna resume the video from where we left. So we were on the last set of valves. So just gonna grind the valve in place. Okay. Just gonna apply a little bit more paste on it. Apologies for losing connection earlier. So for those of you just joined in, uh, we're trying to grind the valves with the grinding paste. So we're using the coarse and then fine grinding paste to finish it off. The reason why we are grinding the valves um, is that we have replaced the valves. So when you replace the valves um, on the engine, you have to grind them in so that they sit in nicely onto the ring here, onto the head, so that it prevents the compression leak. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. So just gonna apply a little bit more grease on it. This is the engine head of Ford S Max 2008 model. So it's a diesel engine. The reason why we are changing the valves are because the camshaft snapped, which disturbed the sequence, and the valves hit the pistons, and the valves, the old valves became bent. So the pistons, when the valves hit the piston, they bent the valves. So that's why we took off all the old valves, and then we are trying to, well, we were trying to uh, grind the new valves so that they get seated in nicely into the slots here. We're using a drill machine and the plunger, old school method. just gonna pull the valve out. So this is the exhaust outlet valve. Just gonna show you what we have achieved by grinding it. Here we go. So this is the area which we grinded on this exhaust outlet valve. This is a very basic engine built by Ford since 19. They've been building these. They've been making these engines since 1986. Quite like working on these engines because they are very straightforward and basic engines as compared to some modern ones. Okay, so we have achieved the required amount of surface, which is which you can see from the outer ring to the inner ring. So the 3/4 of the area is nicely been grinded in. So what we do now is just gonna clean the area here and here inside. So we're gonna finish it off with coarse grade paste. So just gonna dab the paste here. So these things you can't rush, you know. I mean, as I mentioned before as well, that you can't rush these detailed procedures. Otherwise, you'll have to strip the engine again and correct your mistakes. So this is the fine grade paste we applied. Onto the valve. So now we're going to use the plunger and the drill machine. Perfect. Just gonna lift the valve up. Here we go. So that is the exhaust outlet valve. Nicely been grinded in. And there we go. It gets seated in nicely as well. I can tell the way it sits. Just gonna show you the, so I've showed you the area here which I grinded. Just gonna show you the, just gonna lift the cylinder head. There we go. See the shining here? and then the inlet valve. Okay, so this is the new valve. I showed you the old valve earlier, which are completely bent, damaged, so we cannot use them. So we're just gonna apply coarse paste on the on the new valve. That's good enough. There you go. Just gonna apply a little bit more paste on it, on the valve. Not this one. It's that inlet valve. There we go. Right, then for just 1 second, I'll be back. Right, there we go. I'm back. So the plunger goes in. Right, there we go. So just gonna apply a little bit more grease. Sorry, just gonna apply a little bit more cutting paste. So this is the course we're using at the moment. There we go. I'm happy with the result. So I have achieved. We have achieved the required amount of grinding on this valve. Okay. So just gonna clean the surface to remove the coarse grade cutting paste. And now we're gonna use the fine one. Okay. So this came as a set. So came with this plunger stick. Okay. And coarse and fine grinding paste as a set for £8. I think it was £8, £8, £50 or something. £8. Yeah, it was just under £9. Yeah. So even on if you look on eBay or Amazon for this type of grinding paste and the plunger stick, so it's going to be the similar price. Shouldn't be more than £10. There we go. Right, here we go. So that was the last bit of grinding process which we have completed on this cylinder head. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna remove the glow plugs and take it to the machinist to get the head skimmed just a little bit from where the head gasket's been sitting. I can feel it with my fingers, the roughness. So the machinist will skim the head uh, to the required spec, to the required to the right requirements, and hopefully tomorrow I'm gonna, once it's skimmed, I'm gonna fabricate the head with the other bits and pieces, i.e. the injector's gonna go in, glow plugs gonna go in, new glow plugs, the EGR valve, and the manifold, inlet manifold and outlet manifold. Okay, so I hope this video is gonna help you grind the valves on your car. So no shortcuts, just take your time on these. Um, if they don't sit right, then you're gonna have a problem with issue with the compression. Okay, so there's gonna be a vacuum leak, and the compression is not gonna be right. So if the compression is not right, the engine's gonna run a bit rough. Okay, so thank you very much for watching the video. Have a lovely evening or good night. Take care. Bye bye.